Hi everyone, it's Christy from Green Eyed Tarot. Today I'm filming a VR to Chanel from Chanel Days. It is the Midyear Tarot tag. So she created the Midyear Tarot tag, I think last year, and then kind of updated it and revamped it for this year. I will definitely link her original video in the description box below. There have been many fabulous video responses to this tag, so I'll try to find some of the ones that I watched myself, so you can find some of them and watch them too. So basically it's just a check-in, right? We're kind of 6 months in, we're at the halfway point or a little bit more, I think, at this point. It's just a check-in on our tarot practice, reflect on some of the decks and things that we've been working with or ones we want to work with. So I think there's 11 prompts. So I'm just going to jump right into it so that this video doesn't become crazy long. So the first prompt is the most used deck this year. So for me, the most used deck this year, it was kind of easy. It's this one in this bag. And it'll probably come to no surprise to anybody who's ever watched my channel this year. And this is the Witch Sister Tarot by Julia Jeffrey. So this deck is probably my most used so far this year, not only because I love it and I think it's brilliant and I absolutely adore Julia's artwork, but I'm also doing a deep dive with this deck over in the Witch Sister Tarot Facebook group. So every week or so there's like a new prompt that I post for the group to reflect on. Right now we're still in the major arcana. We're not really going in any kind of order, just sort of letting the deck guide us, like letting the Witch Sisters voice come through and guide us. So basically I just flip through my cards, and the next major arcana that I come to, that's the one that we've been studying. I think this deck has such a unique voice because of its themes based on Scottish witchcraft in particular, but also lots of Celtic mythology and Celtic deities and things like that, but really focused on the witchcraft. So much of the imagery that you see in the cards relates to places in Scotland and trees and flowers and herbs and practices that were meticulously researched by Julia when creating this deck. So this has definitely been, again, my most used deck just because of the nature of the deep dive I've been doing with it. So have been using it and diving into the guidebook. The guidebook it includes an extraordinary amount of information that Julia has put together, and she's put it together so concise, in such a concise way, but that's still really deep and gives you insight into why and how and what inspired her with these images and her artwork for this deck. So that is the Witch Sister Tarot. It is absolutely gorgeous. Again, anyone who has the Tarot of the Hidden Realm who thinks that, oh, well, this might replace the Tarot of the Hidden Realm, I can tell you that it's not the case. Tarot of the Hidden Realm is probably my favorite deck of all time. I have such a relationship with that deck, but this one has a very different energy and a very different voice. And it is definitely different than Tarot of the Hidden Realm. And also this deck was created completely by Julia, not to knock Barbara Moore, who created Tarot of the Hidden Realm with Julia, but this is Julia's deck, and you can feel that when you're working with it. So it's just beautiful. Again, like I said, her artwork is extraordinary. So that's my most used deck. Definitely the Witch Sister, since I got it in December. So since then, I've pretty much been using it regularly and haven't stopped, and I don't think that that's going to slow down. So number 2 is the new deck that came into my collection this year. So one that I'm just thrilled to have and just have been loving working with is the Tarot of Persephone's Garden. So this is a gorgeous deck created by one of our very own in our tarot community, Forest Moon Maiden on Instagram. These are the backs, these beautiful pomegranates. So this, is based on existing art, and it is a lot of pre-Raphaelite art, which is some of my favorite art. John William Waterhouse is one of my favorite artists. I do love that time period and that type of art. So this is just absolutely gorgeous. It just feels like being in a lush garden and just being surrounded by beauty and just, yeah, like I can't describe it other than like a lushness, like a lush feeling. And it's so beautiful. It pairs with so many of my decks. I love this. I actually have my cell phone case. I have one with this art on it, that I got from Society 6. So again, I absolutely, this one is just like the pre-Raphaelite deck of my dreams. I never could find a pre-Raphaelite deck that really spoke to me, and this is it, man. This is like this was the one, and it's just gorgeous. They just knocked it out of the park. And just as a side note, they are working on another deck, Tarot of the Huntress, which is an Artemis theme deck. So now I have another deck to lust over, and can't wait till that one arrives. But so glad to have this one. This is a new deck to me, but it feels like I've had it forever. And like I said, it pairs so beautifully with so many decks. I paired it with the Intuitive Night Goddess, and it blew me away, the readings I was getting. And so I did that for like a week. I was like nonstop. I'm so glad this card comes up, because this is my favorite John Williams Waterhouse painting, The Soul of the Rose. I have this hanging in my bedroom, and I've had it for like 30 years. It's my absolute favorite. It's so beautiful. And to have it in a tarot card deck, it's just, oh my God, it makes me so happy. So that's Tarot of Persephone's Garden. So beautiful. And just, I'm so happy to have it, like I said. So that was a new deck that came into my collection this year. All right, so the next prompt is most anticipated release. So this is a tough one. Not a tough one, but this was definitely my most anticipated, and that was the Solara Occulto Meliora. So this is the newer edition. So this deck, I missed out on this deck the first time around, which was very sad. And I can't believe I missed it. And then it was out of print for a very long time. So I feel like I watched and waited and listened until I heard that this was coming back to Kickstarter in a new edition. It has these matte black edges. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is probably one of the most beautiful decks that I own in terms of the quality and the aesthetics. It is matte cardstock. So so this deck was one that, like I said, I missed out on, sadly, and just waited and waited and waited. And I feel like I almost literally was the first person to back it when it came up. I clicked so fast. I don't think I've ever backed anything on Kickstarter in my life so fast. But I just think it's really got something special. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm not an artist, so I don't know that I know how to speak of art and speak on art. But just something about this, the colors, the black, the saturation, right? It's Solara sun, so there's all these really cool mustard yellows and oranges with the black. It just, I think it's just absolutely gorgeous. Like I said, the color palette is just chef's kiss for me. And just like these little creature, like, I don't want to call them creatures, but they're creatures, right? I don't know what that is. It kind of looks like a kangaroo, but it's not. And just like their expressions, I don't know. I just really think it's something special. Like, I feel like it has such a cool color palette, like between the white and the black, and the way, again, the way the creator uses these colors, like these burnt oranges and like burnt sienna and just all these like tones. I love this 10 of Pentacles. Like, sort of like, right, the legacy, like those who've gone before, sort of looking out over, like watching over those who are now. That feeling of legacy, right? Leaving a legacy. And then you have like the dogs, like that symbol of like loyalty and like lineage. And then you have like these like werewolf looking, I don't know. I just think it's amazing. Here's a mermaid. It's fantastical and to me just gorgeous. Again, I could go on and on about the colors, the color saturation. The cards are bigger than standard size, so like you really get the artwork, like you can really see. And the other great thing about this deck is that it came with a complete oracle as well. This was a special card, the Griffin. Look at that red, like it's so like different from the rest of the deck with this shiny. So this was like but there's an entire oracle deck to go with it. So there's a deck built in. This was a Kickstarter exclusive for this edition, was this. So it says Consciousness Oracle, Council Oracle, Drowning Oracle, Perspective. So like it's got an entire Energy Vampire. How amazing is that? Energy Vampire Oracle. So it's got an entire oracle deck that goes with it too, a set of cards that can be used as a companion oracle. So that's pretty amazing. But yeah, so Solara Occulto Meliora, this was the newest Kickstarter, the most recent Kickstarter edition. And just so happy I have it. Biggest complaint, if I had to have a complaint, is the font in this guidebook. So thankfully there's a digital version because my aging eyes, absolutely not. So that's really the only thing, but there is a digital guidebook and I feel like it's a pretty easy reader. But I always like to kind of hear what the creator has to say about the cards and the artwork. So, but that was definitely my most anticipated release this year because I waited for so long to be able for it to come around again for me to back it on Kickstarter. So, okay, so biggest surprise this year. So just for this year, not that I got this deck this year, but my biggest surprise has been the Pagan Otherworlds. So I definitely didn't get this deck this year, but it certainly is the first time I've used it. I've had this deck for a while, and the first time I've used it was this year. And I spoke about this deck in the To Romance tropes. This was definitely my enemies to lovers, I believe, is what I chose this for because I was determined not to like this deck. I don't know why, but I was, and because it is very pip-ish. It's not a traditional pip deck. This isn't like a Marseille deck per se, but it is, it's definitely not as narrative and scenic as the other decks that I use and typically how I read. It also has these extra moon phase cards. But man, is this grown on me and grown on me and grown on me. And really the way that this has grown on me is by using it with other decks. Like by me pairing this with other decks it has given me a newfound respect for this one. I mean, I think it is gorgeous. I think it's a masterpiece. I do feel like it is one of those classic, like, this is a classic deck in the tarot community. You know, I feel like it's beloved by many. I also feel like there are many that, like, you know, like me, probably didn't, you know, was like, I don't know. But it has become a deck that I use for ancestor work. I talked about that. It has kind of like wormed its way into that practice for me, because it just feels like that. It feels like that for me personally. But it is just, what can I say? Look at this Tower card. Like, what can I say? It's just, it's beautiful in an antique, like, just like an old book, right? Like that you're looking at an old, you know, reading like an old book or like an old manuscript. It feels like a library, right? An old, like, dusty library, which who doesn't love an old dusty library? Like, I definitely do. So look at this Wheel of Fortune. Like, it is what it is. And it was definitely my biggest surprise this year, because I didn't think that I would ever be like, I'm using pagan otherworlds like regularly in my tarot practice, and it's giving me these great readings. And like I said, I've been pairing it with other decks, which has made me really love it, you know, even more. So that is the pagan otherworlds. Very well known. Don't really need to talk about it anymore. But that has been definitely my biggest surprise. I never would have thought that this would have been one of my most used decks this year, and I would have used it as much as I have. So my biggest disappointment of the year. So this has a two-parter. It's like a sad story, but a happy story. It's like the bad news and the good news. So my biggest disappointment this year was this. Now, this is the Color Mage Oracle. Now, this came back. This is another deck that I really wanted for like years. It was, I mean, I had seen it, and for years I wanted it and was not able to get it. And then it was re-released. It was like, there was like, I believe, some updates made to it. So I was so excited to get it. I got it on sale. Like, there was a sale. The creator was having a sale. And so I was able to get it, and I was so excited to get it in. I'm like, oh my gosh, this has been like, I've been waiting. And then I took the deck out to flip through it, and then this is what I came upon. And so for anyone who can't see, or maybe I don't know, you can see. So there is a title. There's a number. There's a title. This is Cotton Candy. And then there are keywords down here. Now, I don't know what you're seeing, but to my naked eye, I cannot see it at all. I see like some, like, what looks like might be a letter. Here's another one. So I kind of pulled out the cards that were like the most problematic. Again, so there is a number. I can see 13, dark apricot, and then there's the keyword. And if I hold it this way and hold it up like to my aging eyes, find the humor, I think is what that says. Here we have another one. So just, it seemed like there were some printing issues with this font down here. So like, this is one of the worst ones, I think. This is yellow sand. I mean, there's a keyword there. So it was really disappointing. So I sent the creator a message about how I was struggling, you know, and I was struggling to see, like, you know, obviously I do have aging eyes, but they're not quite that bad. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, I should be able to see them. Like, even on some of the darker cards, they're not, it looked like it was a printing issue. And it was printed overseas. So I assume that that's all it was. But then I think what ended up happening, and the creator was very responsive, like checking into it, and then was kind of like, you know, I can't, you know, this is the printer, like, I don't have any control, it's out of the country. But then I think what ended up happening was it wasn't just my deck. So I ended up hearing, and I guess so did the creator, they heard as well from a lot of people that had received like this initial batch of this new edition, and they were having the same issues. So it was like an issue with the actual maybe like original files. Long story short, it was corrected, and it was corrected, I would say, very quickly. I mean, the creator is Chroma Mystic, Bernard Charles. Chroma Mystic is one of the most responsive and caring and just really genuine creators I've ever been, had the pleasure to have to do, business like this with. I felt bad. So you can see the backs are a little different. So basically what ended up happening is they ended up updating the entire, like all of the original files. So the creator updated all of the original files. And then what we got is this new, and I got this deck sent to me for free. It was just ordered. I got an email with the order. I didn't have to do anything. The creator went through all the people, I guess, who had originally got the original batch with the printing that wasn't so great, and just ordered a new one. So I got a new one in the mail. I didn't have to do anything else. And so now you can see the fonts are changed. They're brighter, they're bigger, and there's no accessibility issues now with this deck. So anyone who's like visually impaired or who has trouble seeing, the deck is definitely, and there he is. There they are, I should say. So there, that's Bernard Charles, Chroma Mystic. You can see Bernard Charles. And actually they have, so exciting, they have a guidebook coming out that I just ordered because I'm on the mailing list for this creator, and I just ordered it. So super excited about that. But you can see, like I said, the font has changed, and it's so much better. I mean, I do like the font on the older one. I do like it. It is definitely not as easy to read. This font is, is easier to read, but it still has the same, like 108 cards in it. I love it. So it's biggest disappointment, yes, but it was corrected, and it was corrected in a way that was so amazing. So I can't complain. So it's a happy story. It's not a complete disappointment. It started out rough, but we have a happy ending with the Color Mage Oracle. So I'm excited about that. But that was a disappointment, I would say, initially at first. I can't really think of anything else. There wasn't any other decks that I was really disappointed in. It was just that issue. And it was rectified, and it was so nice of that creator to just be so honest and upfront and transparent with everybody. So I really appreciated that. So let's see. Next one is Deck Crush. Deck you're in love with. This will come as no surprise to anyone. It's the Circle of Doors Tarot. I am absolutely smitten with this deck. I will not spend too much time because I'm pretty sure I've gushed about this deck enough. It is gorgeous. Again, probably similar in aesthetically, like one of the most beautiful decks that I own. The cards are enormous, but I love it that they're this size. And they just are witchy and primal and just feel like me and how I see myself in the world, and how I connect with my spirituality. So it's just gorgeous. And the minor arcana have keywords on them, which I absolutely love. I don't mind that at all. The court cards have been renamed. So there is a different hierarchy in the court cards. This was originally an art installation on the beach in California. I love this 3 of Cups, and the keyword is coven. So deck I am absolutely in love with is the Circle of Doors Tarot, which I believe is still available. So if you haven't, I know it may not be everyone's, everyone's thing, but if you've been thinking about it, if you like, sort of a witchy energy, a really like a sacred, sacred feminine, just in all those like feminine and female archetypes, or like goddess archetypes. I read a book recently called Lilith. It's a work of fiction by Nikki Marmory. I spoke about it on my channel, I believe. And this is one of the decks that I was using while I was reading that book, like in response to different things that I had like highlighted and made notes on, and it connected me with that energy. It was beautiful. It was perfect. It was like the perfect. So this says 3 of Knives, dark mood. That's for sure. The 4 of Cups, benevolence. So I love the keywords on this. It's almost like could be used as an oracle. It's like I said, it's a huge size, so you can like pull a card with a keyword and have it and put it on your altar, put it in your sacred space, and like that could be an energy for the day. So something to meditate on. It's delicious. The cardstock is delicious. The box is delicious. It's just delicious. It's like I said, a beautiful, but the book is like really gorgeous. It's like rose petal. It has like the full card image. There's affirmations. There's like a little poem almost to introduce each one. The guidebook is amazing. The guidebook is full of so much. So that is the Circle of Doors, a deck I'm absolutely in love with and clearly cannot stop talking about. Clearly, because I talk about it, I feel like in every single video it comes out somehow. Okay, so the next one is favorite card of the year. So my favorite card of the year, out of all the decks I've been using, that was really hard. I had to like think about the ones, but actually it comes from the Tarot of Mystical Moments. This is a newer deck to me. I know this deck has been around for a lot longer than this year, but it came into my tarot library this year. And I don't know why I waited so long. I think I waited on this because I thought this was going to conflict with the Dream Keepers Tarot. I was so into the Dream Keepers Tarot and still am, but I was so connected to that deck, and I felt like it kind of had the same, I didn't want it to sort of take the place of, but I realized that I finally got it and then used it with the Dream Keepers Tarot, and like my mind was blown because I was like, they're like sisters or something. They feel like they belong together. And so then I was just really excited. So this is a newer deck to me, and I just love the artwork and the imagery, and I'm blown away by so many of them. But my favorite card, I feel like in all of the decks I've used, is this one, is the Tower card from the Tarot of Mystical Moments. I feel like it's so, like when I read the Tower card, and I talk a lot about like the foundations, right? Like it rocks us to our foundation, but I feel like in this card, like the person in this card is really trying, like a lot of times it's not of our making, right? There's like cards in the tarot that lean towards like we made the choice, but the Tower is so much of a it was something that just happened. Like we didn't choose it. We didn't walk away from it. We didn't choose the ending. We didn't like want this implosion or like this destruction. And so I feel like the figure is twofold. They're holding on to it with all their might to stop it when there's like clearly cracks and there's probably no saving it. So they're holding on, and I just feel like that's such a poignant way to look at the Tower. When I think about like Tower moments in my own life and how I held on way too long in some instances when I knew deep down, but also too how like the Tower doesn't change you at the core. Like I like this image of like the person down there, like still the foundation, right? Like they're still at its core, like they haven't been destroyed. So they haven't been completely destroyed. There's still left pieces of them left, like they're still there. And so something about this Tower card it makes me think of how I think of the Tower card and how I connect with it and let it in, but also the bittersweet aspect of it, the understanding that, like it could be for the better, but you still hold on with all your might sometimes, because when you're going through it, you don't see it. You don't see that. So this really I just love this Tower card. I think it's genius. I think this deck is beautiful. The imagery, I think it's very unique and quirky, but this to me is it's gorgeous. And you can kind of see the blue sky behind all this smoke and debris and things, and you can see that blue sky there, but this person's got their eyes closed and they're holding on for dear life, so they don't see that. They don't see that there could be hope. There's blue skies ahead. It could be better tomorrow. It's like that toxic positivity thing. It's like, I don't want to hear that right now. I'm holding on for dear life. And I'm trying to hold on to myself at my core and in my foundation of who I am. So that's my favorite card from this year, is the Tower card from the Tarot of Mystical Moments. A deck that makes me happy. So a deck that I got this year that makes me happy is the Calaca Tarot by Bob Rob Medina. So this is, it's just a really fun deck. I mean, it's inspired by Mexican folk art, by Calavera skeletons. So things like Dios de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. And so it's been inspired. I think the creator was inspired by all of those things. But it is very much a Rider-Waite-Smith clone, but featuring these Mexican folk art skeletons. And they just make me happy. Something about this just makes me happy. It feels like Summerween. So there's another tarot tag going around called Summerween. So like Halloween in the summer. And like, to me, this feels like Halloween in the summer. Like this definitely would be the perfect deck for that tag, because this feels like, to me, Halloween in the summer. Even the dog is look at the dog in the Fool. Even the dog is a little skeleton, and he has like the same teeth. It just makes me so happy. Like, I love that there are skeletons just in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith like imagery, like positions, and with the backgrounds, like the pomegranate we have here, and the two columns, and the book, and the moon. You have like the crescent moon. It's just fun. It makes me happy. It makes me smile. It's like something about it is silly. Something about it is so silly, but I mean, it gives good readings. It's a straight reader. It's, like I said, Rider-Waite-Smith. But it's just, isn't it so, I just think it's so darn cute and fun. I mean, like I said, it's pretty traditional, but something about it really makes me smile. Like, look at this. Look at the hair on this one. Like, look at his hair. Or their hair. I mean, they're skeletons. And, like, I feel like it's, like, the ultimate, like, inclusive deck, because this is what we all are underneath our skin and everything. And underneath all that, this is what we are. We're bones. We're these bones. So, this is like the human experience. This is what we are underneath. And all of these archetypes and all of these like, situations and things that we go through the major arcana, minor arcana, it's common to our human experience. And I think it's funny that these skeletons are experiencing all these things, right? These like the minor arcana being like sort of like your everyday, day-to-day life type of stuff. And so I just think it's fun, and it does. It makes me smile. I had planned on doing a walkthrough of this deck. I don't know that I've ever seen a video, so maybe I will. I think that's why I had put it back in order. My plan was to do a full walkthrough, so maybe I will. Maybe we'll do I won't do the Summerween tag, but just here's a perfect Summerween deck for everybody to make everybody smile. So that is the Calaca Tarot. And I believe it was available on Etsy. I believe I got this off of Etsy. I will try to link it in the description box. So that's a deck that makes me happy. The most painful deck of the year. This one was really, I didn't really know what to choose for this one. So this one was a little tough for me, but my most painful deck when it came down to it and I really had to think about it was this. This is an Oracle deck, not a tarot. Craft Decadence Oracle. This is by La Green Witch on Instagram. This is from Make Playing Cards. So it's a little poker size oracle. This little shit of an oracle deck, I say that with love because I love it, but painful in that it really calls you out. Like this little oracle is not going to let you like rest in your bullshit. It's going to call you out on the bullshit with its interesting keywords and like the additional, like the little, like they have like a phrase and then there's some words underneath it. So it really does call you out. So like return of misfortune, inescapable fate, unforeseen doom. So like, it's almost like a light, to me, it's like a light and shadow side. Memento mori, time is fleeting, now or never. Like, I feel like it just is it calls you out. Wisdom cocoon, I love this. Wisdom cocoon, inside knowledge, solitary learning. So it's like, are you putting yourself in a wisdom cocoon? Like, are there things that you're learning and like keeping it to yourself only and like not sharing it with others? Are you thinking of yourself as someone who doesn't have anything to learn from anyone else? Like, I feel like it's definitely like each one of these is like a dig almost. It's like, it doesn't sound like it's so bad, but it's a dig. Passionate, abandoned, give up to intensity, unrestrained frenzy. So it's like, give up to intensity. Well, that sounds like it's not so bad. Like it might be fun, but like unrestrained frenzy sounds like insane. Like that sounds like that's a mess that like waiting to happen. Like, so I feel like it definitely calls like Bacchus, unrestrained feast, pleasure in excess, right? So we're talking about excess now, right? I feel like it's definitely calling people out on their crap. But in like almost like a loving, like a best friend who tells you the truth. Like they're very honest with you and they're open and they're honest, but that's why like they're such a good friend because they tell it like it is. I don't know. This has been the most painful because like I said, it calls you out. You can't really hide from it. Nonchalant harvest, effortless collect, easy results. Like, are you taking the easy way out? You know what I mean? Are you being nonchalant about, things that are coming your way? Like, are you taking your abundance and good things that are happening for granted? Obsessive engineering, monomaniacal focus, erratic concentration. So like monomaniacal focus doesn't sound like the greatest type of focus like that you may want. I don't know. It just sounds like it might be calling you out on, are you a little bit too focused? Are you having tunnel vision? So, growth through paradox. I love this. Melancholic rise. Mourning but growing. Down to up. Like, it definitely is, to me, when I say painful, I mean just, it makes you look at yourself and really examine yourself, which is why I love it. But that can be painful sometimes, to have to really like look inside of ourselves and accept things that we don't want to accept about ourselves. So if you want like a little really cool oracle deck, this Craft Decadence Oracle is amazing. Deck you want by the end of the year. Okay, so the deck I want by the end of the year, I had to think about this because I have a few that I have my eye on, but one that I like by the end of the year, and is one that I just backed on Kickstarter that's actually still funding. It hasn't completed its Kickstarter campaign, and it is it's the Winter Magic Tarot. It's a winter tarot. It's by Danielle Norman. I'm gonna put a photo somewhere here that you can see. It's still like I said, there's time left to back it. It looks really beautiful. Danielle Norman makes beautiful decks. She has the Ascension Tarot that she's made a few decks now she's created, but she's created this winter tarot deck, and I don't have anything that's inherently like a tarot deck that's for winter. I never did like the winter weight because I'm not really like a traditional Rider Waite with like that, like the colors and the snow and stuff. It wasn't really anything I was into, but this is just like pure like winter magic, beautiful winter scenes, winter things, and I have a winter soul. I love the winter so much, so I'm really looking for it. I hope I get that by the end of the year. I believe that that's the idea, that we will have it before the winter season. So I really hope I have that deck before the end of the year, because I really want to use it in the winter season. And I'm really excited about it because I don't have anything like that right now. So that's the one I want by the end of the year. Deck you haven't used but want to by the end of the year. So that's kind of a no-brainer, is this Haptic Tarot that just came in. I did a video of pairings with this deck, so I will try to link that in the cards somewhere up there if you're interested. But this is a gorgeous deck that just came in from a Kickstarter by Nick Jacobs, A Page of Cups Tarot. On Instagram, on social media, they are A Page of Cups Tarot. This deck is one that I know I will be using quite a bit in the next coming months, because it is just absolutely gorgeous. And from my pairings video, it is pairing beautifully with many of the decks that I have in my collection. So this is a deck inspired by the Flemish Renaissance painter Jan van Eyck, who I happen to love, another painting style that I love. It is basically the focus of the deck is hands, hence the name Haptic Tarot, or like textures, touch, the kind of the sense of touch. So the cards are featuring other symbols, traditional symbols from the tarot, but just hands. So you don't see complete figures, you only see their hands. The cardstock is so nice. It's even though they're bigger, like oracle size cards, they're so easy to shuffle. So yeah, the cardstock is just a dream. The colors are just, they look like they're real. Like we're looking at portraits, like photography is what I meant, like photos. But I love how it looks like they're just zoomed in on portraits like that you would see hanging in a museum. I'm a huge fan of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. I don't live that far from there, so I'm lucky that I'm able to go there. I feel very blessed that I'm able to visit there several times a year, and it just feels like those paintings and those wings, that Italian Renaissance, all the Renaissance paintings, it feels like we're zoomed in on those. Like we took a magnifying glass and walked up real close, and we're zooming in on them, and it really is beautiful, spectacular. I'm so looking forward to actually working with it more, pairing it with those decks. Like I said, just love it. So that is the Haptic Tarot, a deck that I have not had the pleasure of using yet, but will within the coming months. Absolutely, deck that I will be using. So that's it for the prompts of this mid-year tarot tag, which was really fun. It's so good to reflect on where I've been, where I'm going, what's happening. Just as a little bonus, one of the things that I wanted to share too, if I can get it in the frame here, is just a new way that I'm journaling about my tarot practice, and actually just my spiritual practice in general. I got this beautiful planner. I'm gonna try to get it in the frame. I got this beautiful, it's like just like a, I don't know what you would call it, like a calendar, I guess, like a daily planner type / calendar situation. Let me zoom out a little. And I saw it in the store, and I just thought it was so gorgeous. I just love it. And just that it reminds me of the death card, of course. Like in the tarot, to me, it just reminds me of the death card and the butterflies and the rebirth and the transformation. And I just think it is gorgeous. So it is 2025, but it starts in July. So I thought for my second half of the year, I was going to try a little something different. I had started off the year with one like journal planner, and it wasn't really working for me. So I decided to, on a whim, because I thought this was so beautiful, I decided to grab this and just see, you know, how I felt about it. And so far it's going really well in terms of me being able to record things that I've done, like just anything that I'm studying like each day, or just notes about the day. So it could be tarot readings, and it could be like I was exploring some numerology things earlier earlier this week, no, last week, at the end of last week. And just ideas for like videos that I might want to make, just little notes that I can jot down. And it's not overwhelming because it's not like a ton of space. So I'm really looking forward to continuing at this. Obviously it starts in July. So, but I'm able to now use it all through next year, the whole year. So I'm super excited about that. Again, it has like a regular, like it has a full like month's calendar. So I can also record, you know, special things or anything like astrologically that I might want to record on here. So that's nice. But it has like enough space per day, like I said, where it's not overwhelming, where I don't feel like I have to write. I have another journal if I decide I do want to write more, you know, and be like more lengthy. And of course I have like my Book of Shadows / grimoire that I'm always adding to. So this is really just a daily, like to record daily like readings and things. And like I said, I just thought it was so beautiful, and I think it's going to really suit me better for the rest of this year and then for next year. So I thought I would just share that as a reflection on my practice in journaling and things like that, and how it's tied to tarot and my readings and things. So I'm looking forward to that. And then maybe like I'll do an update at the end of the year to see how it's going and what I've been including in here as part of my my journaling practice. So that's it, the Midyear Tarot Tag. Thanks so much for being here and for listening and watching. I appreciate it so much. Please, if you haven't done so already, consider subscribing to my channel. I have a playlist of my latest series, Spread It Out Sunday. Spread It Out Sunday is just a series I've been doing on my channel where I do a different tarot or oracle spread every Sunday and pull cards and just talk about what the cards might mean. It's very relaxed. It's very casual. It's just a fun way for me to spend a Sunday, and I've been really enjoying it. So I will definitely link the playlist to that in the description box below. If you have any thoughts or comments, I would love to hear from you about how your year's going. If you do not want to make a video for the Midyear Tarot Tag, maybe just share some of the prompts. I will put the prompts in the description box as well. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.